And it's really beautiful. It's if you live in a climate where you have the seasons and you have the snow, it's really a lovely thing. And if you don't live in a climate with snow, I'm sure you're enjoying being warm and everything, and maybe dreaming about a white Christmas. But I was thinking as it was snowing that as the snow falls, it's really beautiful. It covers the ground, it just blankets it in this beautiful white, and everything looks very pristine. Yet, when the snow starts to melt away, it doesn't look very good. It's muddy and yucky and kind of dirty, and everything that had been blanketed in this beautiful white suddenly starts to show up. And I was thinking that that correlates so well with our negative trapped emotions, that we can cover them up for a while, we can hide them for a while, but eventually that facade or the blanket of snow, if you will, is going to melt away, and all of this yucky stuff is still there. It's just hidden, and it's going to resurface. So I'm Holly Pitus, an emotion code, body code practitioner, and I'm so happy that you joined me tonight, because this is the time of year when we are ready to let go of the old and prepare for the new. So all of this week, I'm going to be doing some pop-ups and coming live. I will have some special things going on for the new year, and I would love to have you join me. So if you are new to the emotion code, I'm glad you found me. And you see the book in the back. It was written by Dr. Bradley Nelson. He is a retired holistic chiropractor, and he discovered as he was working on people, he was giving them these fine adjustments. They seemed to have their body in alignment according to the books, but there was still something that was nagging at them. And there were these, reoccurring aches and pains and discomforts and difficulties. And Dr. Nelson discovered the system that he calls the emotion code, where it's our emotions from unprocessed events in our past that get stuck in our energy body, and then they come and crop up from time to time. And so they can cause us, a little bit of inconvenience, and they can also cause us some really crippling problems. And so I'd like to show you in a stream here, I would like to show you this graphic. And this is something that kind of illustrates where you can have some of these discomforts. And so if you look at the first one, it says the brain, and that's where we actually feel our stress. So much of stress is our thought process. And, you can have two people, they're having the exact same day, and one is saying this is the best day ever, and another person is just frazzled and worried, overworked, overwhelmed. And it's all on our perceptions, our attitude, and how we are perceiving our day. The next one is the head, and that's frustration. And I'm sure you have that. Or if you've experienced it, or you have a friend that has told you about theirs, that work is busy, home life is stressful, there's difficulties, maybe it's your car breaks down, or you're depending on public transportation and that broke down, or it's late, or the connection, you missed a connection. And so this frustration, people even say, I'm so frustrated, and they'll like touch their head or touch their forehead. So some of these old sayings that we have come for a reason. I think one of the other ones that's really interesting, the graphic is small on the computer, so that's why I have to refer to them on my sheet. So in the lungs and the heart, the chest area is where you see grief and fear. And, I'm touching myself here, that it's like, this is what people do. They'll say, oh, I was so afraid, or, oh, it hurt me so much. And it's almost like this protective mechanism that you reach for that area of the organ that is known for storing some of these emotions. So I am also just going to put on a comment here. There we go. So I always want to make sure that I'm actually live. I hope that I am. Anybody that goes live on the internet, you know that sometimes you think you're live and you're really not, and other times you think you're not live and you really are. So we always want to have the coordination of being correct. So if you are able to join me tonight, do say hello in the comments. Let me know where you're joining from. And so again, tonight is all about saying goodbye to this past year. And I don't know why this says live top of the hour. It's not supposed to. There we go. And that is not it either. Stumbling here a little bit. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. So I do also work with pets, and additionally, they're people. And so the title for tonight is Done with 2021. You know, how much of the baggage from this year do you really want to drag with you into the new year? Or is this the time of year when you're going through your goal planning, your goal setting, your calendar planner of the things that you want to accomplish in the new year? And there's a lot of people that are taking things that they were intending to accomplish in this particular year, and it just didn't happen. You know, the pandemic is still going on. There's all kinds of difficulties that are happening just with day-to-day life. And day-to-day life seems to be filled with a lot of difficulties anyway. But this year has been particularly hard, and people are tired. I'm sure you're tired. I'm sure the people that you work with are tired. Your family members are tired. If you have kids at home and you've had to have them in and out of homeschooling, or the hybrids, the onlines, or you're sending them to school, you don't know what's going to happen if the school is going to still be open in a couple of days. It's been a really stressful year, and we've been persevering. So that is good, and I think we will continue to persevere. I think that there are things to be hopeful with in the new year. And a lot of it is also just getting rid of these negative trapped emotions that we have accumulated throughout our past, and particularly in this past year. I'm going to take a little drink of water here. It's part of processing emotions. They process better when you have when you're fully hydrated. So I, as the practitioner, and you as the recipient of the session, we should both be well hydrated. So I'm going to take a little drink. And so going back to the chart, there are some other things that, you know, it's just sort of known that as we have these stresses, these irritations, the difficulties, so often they will manifest in something in our body. So you get the ache or the pain, and you have the headaches or the shoulder pain or the backache or the trouble with your feet or your knees or your hips, or it can be anywhere. And so the emotion code is wonderful in that it can just release them. And what we do is we would have you, I'm just going to see if I get my note down here. So whether, if you are volunteering tonight, what you would do, I would need your name, or your pet name if we're working with your pet, or your child if we're working with your child. And then what is the issue or the behavior that you want to work with? And on a scale of 1 to 10, I like to establish what that severity level is in the beginning so that we can see as it progresses. So if you are talking about having, suppose you really can't stand your coworkers, and you're having problems with your relationship because you don't like it's usually one coworker in particular that you have difficulty with. And it's enough to really color your whole attitude about your job. You can also have that if you're going to a family celebration. There's usually just one relative or date of a relative that really gets on your nerves, and it colors your whole perception of what the gathering is going to be like. So that lots of times can be something that we call a heart wall. And a heart wall is the name is pretty explicit and descriptive of what it is. And so as people have events in their life and they say, I just don't want to have to go through that again, or I don't like being around that person, you just start to build up a bubble of protection. And initially, you do it as a reason of having a protection around yourself. You don't want to feel hurt. You don't want your feelings to be hurt. You don't want to go through that kind of emotional pain again. So you put this wall up. Also, another common term that people use when you're talking about your friends or an old love relationship and you don't want to get into a new one, it's like you say, we have a wall up. I'm just not going to go there again. And so not only can it protect you initially from getting your feelings hurt again, it can also prevent you from living the life that you were meant to live, because you're not allowing yourself to have those relationships, whether they be work relationships or personal relationships, love relationships, family relationships. You need to have that wall opened up so that your heart can open and that you can have those relationships to the depth that they were really the depths that they're intended to go and able to go. And now I know it sounds like this could be really complicated, and it actually isn't. When you have a session, you can just bring up the difficulty. And suppose, because we're dealing with things on your subconscious level, going through the process of the emotion code and also the body code, we can really I as a practitioner can only ask questions in a yes or no format. So, I can say, if you're talking about, a pain in your neck, I can say, okay, is there a trapped emotion or trapped emotions that are contributing to this pain in the neck? And I get a yes or a no answer. And it's done through kind of a biofeedback program. And so I don't need to know about the original event. I don't need to hear the story of the trauma. You don't have to relive any of those things. And some of the things that you think you dealt with years ago, or you've even forgotten about, or did not think it was very significant at the time. So you just, you're carrying this baggage and you just don't even know that it's there, really. You just know that it's burdened. So going through the emotion code process, we're able to relieve those emotions and that negative trapped baggage without having to know the story of it. So as long as you know the event, which your subconscious does, because your subconscious has recorded everything since the beginning of time. And it probably has recorded everything, possibly even since before the beginning of time. So your subconscious works like the memory on your computer. So it doesn't matter where you have been on your computer, or what program you've looked at, or what website you've opened up, intentionally or accidentally. It is recorded on your hard drive, and it is there forever. And that is how your subconscious mind works. It's recording everything. And then as you come into an experience of a similar event, your subconscious mind wants to do everything automatically. It wants to just sort of take care of things, so you don't have to worry about your circulatory system or your breathing system or your heart beating or any of that stuff. It just wants to work on all of these things automatically, and It's like repeating, in the case of a negative emotion, it's repeating this negative track over and over again, because it says, well, what did we do? Worked. Oh, we put up a heart wall. That's right. We put up this wall. So now I feel like I'm getting too close to this person. So what am I going to do? I'm going to build another wall, or I'm going to make my wall thicker or bigger or deeper. And all of this is happening sort of under the surface. And so you are not necessarily consciously aware of these things. It's just what you become consciously aware of is the pain in your neck, the discomfort in your feet or your knees. So it's an incredible system. And one of the great things about letting go of the baggage of this past year and having partaking in some of these pop-up sessions that I'm going to be doing is that you can get rid of those things that are stopping you, blocking you from going ahead and meeting your goals in the coming year. So on that note, I'm going to wrap up. Do come back to my page. I'm going to be listing the times this week that I'm going to be going live. So you can either join me live, and then also I am doing some special calls that it'll be just a short phone call that we can meet on the phone. You can tell me what your major goal is for this year, and I can clear the emotions that are going to be standing in your way for you achieving that goal. So short, doing $10 for 10 minutes. And it's a great introduction to the emotion code and this incredible feeling of getting it cleared. A lot of times what people say in response to it, they can say, oh, I felt really tingly, or I felt very energized, or I feel like I can sit taller, or I just feel like there's been a weight taken off of my shoulder. And it's a really fun experience. It's an easy thing to do. And so I invite you to join me. Watch for that. And I'm also doing some group sessions. And so that is where we get together in a group. You'll see the Zoom invitation. And you can either be live on the Zoom call. And so as long as I have your name, your permission, your interest in it, you can, like I said, either join us live for the live experience, or you can have it done remotely so that you will be included in the clearings that are done during the group session. So, all right. On that, good night. I will see you soon. And I'm Holly Pitus, your emotion code body code practitioner. So you can find me right here, like you have on Facebook at Get Feeling Better. You can also find me on YouTube, and you can also find me at my website, getfeelingbetter.com. All right. Thanks to you.